So the classified paper 6 topic light, you have to go through these points. About the lenses, we will discuss later. Today we did refraction of the light through prism and glass block. That we'll do today. The question related to that part. But there are lens questions as well that we will solve in the coming week. A student ray trace sheet is shown, like student just make a path of a light. You just have to follow the instruction. For such questions, the light question, you just have to follow the instruction. The first one, a student places a transparent block ABCD. Like you can see, this is a transparent block, student place ABCD on a ray trace sheet, like on a paper in which he can draw the path of the light as indicated in figure 3.1. She draw a line NM. So she draw a line NM. She drew a line from N to M. Draw a normal to line AB at point N, and the normal should start above AB and extend the normal below AB, and so that it crosses line CD. And label the point at which the normal cross CD as L, and measure the angle between the normal and the line. So we have to follow the instruction. What is the instruction? The instruction is you have to draw a normal at point N. Like normal is always perpendicular or 90 degree to the surface. So we have to draw a normal to point N at point N. And we should start the normal above AB and we'll continue the normal until and we have to extend till point CD. And the point CD, that position where it crosses point CD, we call that as L. And then we have to measure the angle. We have to measure this angle, theta, according to the question. How to measure such angle? So you will use a protractor. You will place, because we always place on the normal. So place in this manner and measure the angle. So first draw the normal at point, like starting above AB and crosses point CD, and the point where it crossed CD, that is labeled as L, and the angle, measure this angle, that is, we have to substitute there the value for angle. What is this angle for when you measure? What is the value for it? First draw the normal and then measure the angle. Do this now. So when we measure this angle, this will be 40 degrees. So we have to record this value. As you can see here, we have to measure the angle theta between N and M. So that we got as 40 degrees. Now, the second part, the student placed two pins P1 and P2 on line NM. Draw at a suitable distance. On a figure, mark and label appropriate position between P1 and P2. Usually when we draw like the position, separation should be greater than 5 centimeter. Like on the line, we have to draw P1 and P2. So this was the part. So when we draw the normal, we label that point L. They said mark to position of the pins on N and L. So the pins where we mark, you can mention P1 and P2, but remember one thing, the spacing between these 2 points, the two position of the pins should be greater than or equal to 5 centimeter, more than 5 or equal to 5, but not less than 5. The separation between the two pins. So just take anywhere you can, even next to this point, like you can draw here, anywhere you can mark, but on the line, the position of the pins. That is P1 and P2. Then a student view the image of P1 and P2 through a block from a direction indicated. She places two pins P3 and P4 so that P3 and P4 and the image of P1 appear in exactly behind. What you have to do, you have to draw a line joining P3 and P4 and extend until it meets N and L. So what we have to do, we have this P3 and P4. So we have this P3 and P4. We have to draw a line from P3 and P4 and we have to extend this line until it meets N and L. And this position where it meet N and L, what we call this, we call that as until it meted P3 extend and label the point at which it crosses CD as E and F you have to say. When it, so one of the point we have to label E. Like this point we will label as E where it crosses CD. So these points are important. And other point where it crosses N and L, we call that as F. So label those points. Is it clear till this point? How we work out the positions?
Yes, sir.
So you just have to follow the instruction for such questions. It's like the instructions are there, you just follow the instruction and at the last there will be image appear. Don't bother about how the light should appear or how the light should refract, just follow the instruction which are given. Then after drawing this, you have to measure the length and NE and FE. So you have to measure the length. So now label the, we have to measure this dimension as they mentioned in the question that you have to measure the length NE and FE. So from N to E, like this length you have to measure. You don't have to draw a line, but you have to measure the distance from NE. Like this was point N, this is E. NE, and then you have to measure from FE. So measure these lengths from N to E. What is this length? N to E and F to E. F to E is this one, N to E is between these, using a ruler. You don't have to draw a line here, just use a ruler scale. What was the first line from N to E? How much is appear? The marking scheme answer might be different from yours because paper size is different. But you will write what you get. So 6.4, some are getting 6.4. What about others?
I got 2.6.
2.6. 2.6, you have to measure this length from N to E, this one. And then from N to F. Sorry, then from E to F. Can you check again? N to E, what is the length? So measure from N to E, then your 6.3 or 6.4 will be there. And the other length is how much? Can you say the length for F to E? So N to E, most of the student got 6.4. So we'll write 6.4 or 6.3. 4.4. 4.4, okay. So example, this is 4.4. So we have,
for me it was 4, sir.
Which one?
It was for me 4.
4, okay. So 6.4 and 4. So you will write according to your value. So this was 6.4 we got, this we got 4. then you have to use a formula to get n, the refractive index, A divided by B. Don't bother about the formula in paper 6, it's always given. So 6.4 divided by 4. What is the answer? 6.4 divided by 4. That is 1.6.
1.6.
1.6. So we write 1.6 and no unit. Now describe the two precautions you should take whenever we are doing this experiment, the light experiment, in which we are tracing the path of the ray. What are the precautions we should take? We should always view the base of the pen. We should always keep a large spacing. We should use thin lines to draw the trace, because if we use thick lines, then the angles will be different. So these, what points you have to keep in mind whenever you're doing such experiments? View the base of the pen, like the pen, the bottom with the base we'll always see, and use large spacing between the pens. Or only two they ask, but you remember, like draw thin lines when you're tracing the path. So these are the precautions we should take for a reliable, or repeat the experiment with different angles for more accuracy.